Welcome to the next installment of the psychological elements of success. So we're in that phase 2 now. We're really building on getting your brain into the zone and making sure that we've got all the tips and hints and strategies and tools to stay consistent and have a nice seamless journey going forward. So we're going to be taking a look at dichotomous thinking now. So we're going to be basically shedding some light on this topic that comes up a huge amount in nutrition generally, and why it's generally not helpful, and what we need to do instead. So dichotomous thinking is basically two different sort of areas that psychologically you'll place yourself within. So it could be I'm on the diet or I'm off my diet. It could be that this food is good and this food is bad. It could be that I've been really good or I've been really naughty recently. So these types of thinking are dichotomous thinking. It's one or the other. It's on or off. It's good or bad, or good or naughty. You know, we really need to just be very, very cautious of how we're talking to ourselves on a day-to-day basis in relation to our nutrition, our workouts, and how you interpret how you're getting on, generally speaking. So what we need to do instead is see nutrition as a little bit more of a spectrum. So dichotomous thinking in the research has been linked with overeating and weight gain. And one of the potential reasons for this is that if you say that you've been bad, or you've not been good, or you've been naughty, or you're on that sort of end of the spectrum, we're going to start berating ourselves. We're going to start telling ourselves off and saying, "I can't believe you've done this again. You know, why do I always do this?" And these sort of thought patterns aren't helpful. We need to just see everything as information. And that's it, just like a computer would. But of course, we're human beings, so we like to interpret things. And we like to say, you've been really good today and you were really bad last week. So, you've made a big improvement now. Now, it doesn't really work like that, especially with nutrition. So let's say, for example, good versus bad food. So we could say, for example, let's give the example of some protein. So let's say a nice piece of fillet steak. And then let's give another example of some, let's say, a milkshake. When it comes to the steak, is it good or bad? Well, you can't really put it onto one or the other pile, because it's just a fantastic source of protein. However, on the other hand, it's got zero fibre. There's many, many nutrients, vitamins, minerals, trace elements, things like that are missing from that food source. So therefore, is it good or is it bad? It doesn't work like that. It's a little bit more complex than that. And then let's say with the milkshake, there might be some sugar in there. So some people might go, well, that's bad for you. But then in the context of your sugar allowances each day, if you've not gone over the recommended amount, you can have that milkshake. So it's not bad then as a result. That it might be a fantastic source of hydration. There might be other electrolytes in there. There might be, for example, a little bit of protein in there. There might be some, fantastic ways of using something like that after a workout, so that we're replacing those glycogen stores after your workout. So the timing might make it a little bit of a different decision to make as well, not just the composition. So we need to see nutrition as like a big picture, like what's happening with your diet as a whole over a week, and not honing in on one food source or one meal or recipe or food item or ingredient and deeming it good or bad, because it just doesn't work like that. We've not got anywhere near enough information to assess whether your diet as a whole is fantastic or needs tweaking. But regardless, we just need to see it as information, just a little bit of data. So if you've gone overboard on your calorie intakes one day, it's not good, it's not bad, there's zero emotional attachment to this in any way. It's just some information, and we can use that information as feedback and say, tomorrow we're going to make sure that we reduce those total numbers. It's as simple as that. There's nothing more to it than that. So psychologically, you can navigate this journey much more effectively with less stress. So nutrition is just more complex than a good or a bad pile, or you're on a diet or off the diet. on the days that you feel as though you've not been as optimal as you like, who knows, you could have hit your fiber targets that day, you could have hit your protein targets, but because you had, let's say that slice of cake with your mum at the coffee shop at the at the weekend, you perceive it to be a really bad thing now, and it's simply not the case. Let's say, for example, if we could assess it in some way, shape or form, it might be a 7 instead of a 9 that day. But because you're honing in on that piece of cake and seeing it as bad and naughty and you shouldn't have done this, it might lead to the following days feeling really low on self-confidence and thinking, well, this is pointless now, we're just going to have to start again next week. And that's what that has the impact. It's not the slice of cake, it's your interpretation and having this dichotomous thinking of good or bad. So let's try and take a step back and see nutrition a little bit more effectively as it should be. So I'm looking forward to the next module, and I really hope this helps you.